hunting season.
Golly, you're not gonna wear your mask?
Oh no, I definitely am gonna wear my mask.
You gotta still pop it off
You know
with
what
the
I mean?
mask.
I don't even want the titty twerk on the beat no more. I ain't got no energy for that.
That's fucked up.
But I'm a freestyle. I got the bag.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
They can't let them get to you like that, bro.
Nah, man. I'm definitely in my emotions right now.
Can you see?
No, I can't see. I don't want to see what. I want to see nothing. The whole purpose. Now find the whole bag to hide the whole face.
What it do, cousins? It's your boy, Benny Hunters. I'm with The Funk is Real. What's left of The Funk is Real. This is the Villages podcast. He's upset, man. Why are you in your bag right now?
Man, so for the people who can't see, I got this brown paper bag over my head because for the whole world who witnessed the Cowboys' embarrassment that was, I guess you would call a game. I don't know what you call that performance. Because I knew we had to show up here after we done talked all this hype about the Cowboys. We done put damn Jerry's World in the background. I got to look at this shit every time and just get reminded that we sorry right now, getting played looking like some goofies. So I don't want the people to see me right now because...
Looking like some goofies.
What you think? Know I was running my mouth.
Yeah, bro. See, that's why I try not to talk too much shit. But yeah, bro, we shouldn't have lost that game. We should be at least 4-2, arguably 5-1, 6-0. But I guess we just Cowboys fans, and this is our life.
Jared got to go, or Garrett, whatever. Jared,
damn, Jared, that's a combination.
Garrett, everybody.
Jerry and Garrett.
No, not Jerry.
At the GM.
Nah, not Jerry.
Just Garrett.
Uncle Jerry is always good, man. Trust me, dog.
Yeah.
I don't want no smoke, Uncle Jerry. You talk about, dog. No, Garrett, you get your ass out of Dallas.
He
dog.
probably gone at the end of the year.
All right, redhead is gone. I can't talk too much Cowboys. I already got a headache just thinking about the shit.
Man, I got a headache thinking about a lot of shit. You know, the last time we were here, we were talking about Ukrainians taking all our shit. And then I found out that they done sent like a little spy girl, 30 years old, got adopted like she was 6, and now she was trying to... Did you hear about this story?
Oh my God.
She's like a little midget. I shouldn't say that. That's the correct term.
Well, she's...
a little person.
Dwarf. I don't know what the correct term is.
Whatever the fuck. Anyway, they adopted her thinking she was 6 years old. Turns out she's probably like 30-something. And she was
30-something?
Yeah, trying to kill him and shit.
Hold on.
They said she put pine sol in her coffee and looked at her and said, "I'm trying to kill you." So homie left. He left the whole family. They got other kids, adopted kids. They all left. And they left her in the crib. He paid rent for a year on the house. He said, this 30-year-old girl, she can handle it. I'm talking about she got...
Yeah.
They found out when he went to bathe her one time, and she was developed, let's say. She had more down there than it was expected, and the mom was mortified. And, so they left her, and now the two parents are being charged with felony neglect of a minor.
Of a minor? They just said she was 30 years old.
The adoption papers say she's 6.
Nah, she either got to pay rent or get out.
It's them Ukrainians. I'm trying to tell you.
Dog. And the crazy thing is, when I saw the clip, I saw that she didn't even have a Ukrainian accent is what tripped me out.
Yeah. So they just finessing over there. At first, they stole our shit. Now they sent little dwarfs to steal their house.
I'm gonna tell you right now what that family don't know is she got your networks hacked. She got all your bank information.
All your videos, all your podcasts.
got everything. Actually, she's the one who stole our episodes. She's that little dwarf. Hey, they need to throw her in the deepest of cells, okay? She done stole all this Lynx Lab data. She done stole from this family. She done tricked them, bamboozled them, ended up in their house posing as a 6-year-old. You a grown-ass woman. And because first of all, she did their taxes for him, right? And she had... That's what when they
got her
saw.
caught up. They say, "Wait, you can't be 6 years old knowing how to."
They said she was doing unusual shit.
Yeah, that shit was wild. So that had given me a headache. And then also, I'm like, real serious shit. we were talking about a police at least last time, an off-duty cop at the time murdering somebody in their own home, and now we still ain't left the Metroplex here in our own area. We had it again this time on body cam. I think we might like. Can you play some of that? We gonna literally it's just listen for the time frame, like the short amount of time frame from the police officer, basically, would you say breaking
So,
in?
pretty much,
he gets into her backyard.
Well, to kind of give people a little background, what's going on here? There was what we'll see in the footage is the police basically being called to basically look at an area that I guess
a neighbor was concerned, right?
Concerned,
like
right?
the
to check
door was
on.
open or some shit, and so they called the police. But instead of the officer going to the front door, the officer sneaks through the backyard,
right,
and peers into a window to find someone who owns in the house rightfully at 2 a.m., not knowing, hearing weird shit in the backyard, coming back with a gun and shoots them dead in their own house through the window.
Right.
Not even inside the house. But the focus is how quick this shit happened, right?
Yeah. So for the people listening, you can hear this.
Go ahead. He's walking through the backyard. Now listen. Put your hands up. Show me your hands. Go. So here's the part that gets to me more than anything else. And I mentioned this last time. Put your hands up. Show me your hands. Pow. Like, it's a disregard, in my opinion, just a disregard for life. Like, hey, I don't really care about the fact that this is another human being. And one, forget being scared. You're an actual, public servant. You're a police officer, right? So your job is not to be a scary motherfucker who at the first sight of anything decides to pull a trigger, for lack of better words, right? Like, your job is to approach a situation with caution. Of course, protect yourself, but shouldn't be in attack mode. Yeah. And I just feel like at this point, just like, police just don't care. And it's funny because I didn't know about this situation until like late yesterday. I think you were actually telling me about it. But my girl, who, is just here from Ethiopia, she's like, yeah, it's weird, being in a country where you don't feel safe. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, you talking about Ethiopia? She's like, no, here. I'm like, what do you mean? And she shows me this, like, this article or whatever about this whole thing. And I don't know how we're supposed to feel, like, other than, like, we're literally not safe in your own home. Like, right. Where else can you be safe if you're not in your own home? And this isn't no mistake of, I thought I was in my house. No, you were lurking in someone else's backyard and you shot him. But granted, at least to the credit of Fort Worth district attorney and police and all that, they were going to fire him. He has dishonorable discharge. He ended up resigning. He's charged with murder. They booked him. So it's not like he's going, ideally, he's not going to get away with it.
He's out on bail right now.
He's out on bail. It's like $200K.
Yeah.
So
what people don't realize is he didn't follow any of the police protocol.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
He didn't even announce that he was a police officer.
Right.
It was
just somebody
he was shooting in.
Yeah, with a flashlight and a gun, talking about put your hands up. You don't know who that is.
And you didn't even do the proper searches. Like, you just went to the back. You didn't even go to the front. Nothing. Like, you didn't check the area that was originally called on. Yeah. So, just thinking on a logical perspective, right? Even if it was something that looked like it was suspicious, did you call backup? Did you do any of the other proper procedures? He is a rookie officer, so he's probably fearful of shit, right? So that's probably how his natural reaction is, not justifying that that's correct, but that's the problem.
But he's also fresh out of training.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I'm saying where the protocol should be the freshest on your mind.
Yeah,
you're a green pea. You walk into a situation like that, You should be, the first thing you should think is, let me call back up. If you're scared, not go creeping into the backyard. Because, the whole thing was the neighbor called because the front doors were open.
Yeah.
Right? So the whole point of you being there is because the front doors are open. And that's what's unusual. The lights are on and the front doors are open. So what you want to be like super cop or something and decide you're going to sneak through the back and find the robbers and be the hero by yourself? What if it was a bunch of robbers? What if it was 3 or 4 of them? You done anyway. Now I think that to some extent there's like an intentional negligence is very light. I just think it's a disregard for life, bro. It's like, you know what? I really don't. I have this badge. I have this gun. I have a license to kill, and no, the fuck you don't. Like,
essentially, that's what it's kind of become, right?
Yeah.
At least that's what it's always seemed to be. It always, because especially when you say license to kill, it's one thing to just do it, but then constantly get away with it when it's blatantly evident of what's going on and that it was wrong.
Yeah.
That's murder. There's a difference between murder and, self, protection.
Yeah, self-defense.
Self-defense, right? Yeah. So there's that line, right? So now it's always up to, for some reason, always turns out that this jury always leans on the side of the officer. And
because the officer's the only one left.
Yeah, that's the thing.
The other side can't argue their case.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's that they always say you rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6 because at the end of the day, you still have a chance.
Yeah.
Right? But these people don't have a chance to defend themselves. And then whatever footage there is to defend them, for some reason, doesn't hold enough weight.
Yeah.
Because God knows what they're going to pull out their bag for some reason, and they can get away with things. Like you've seen it in time in history, right?
Yeah. It's interesting, though, because the 3 times, like major times that in recent history. I think Walter Scott may have been another one in South Carolina, but where the police actually get in trouble, they're all here. You had the Mesquite kid, who my friend actually coached, the 15-year-old who got killed by the Mesquite police officer. He got like 15 years. Dallas, and now you got Fort Worth. It's like they literally just spread across east side, central, west.
Oh yeah.
And now. The real question is, all right, cool. He was charged. He hasn't been indicted yet. Are they going to find him guilty? And if they do, is anybody going to actually spend like substantial time, like lose their life to this shit? Whether it's not die, but like you're going to be behind bars for the majority of the rest of your life. Because I was thinking about this too, people thought like it was good because I'm sad that the boy's name is escaping me, but the young kid who got killed in Mesquite, the judge gave that officer 15 years for every year of the child's life. And I was thinking like, shouldn't it be like the inverse? Like, what is the life expectancy? Right. What is our standard life expectancy? What is the current life expectancy? All right, subtract 15 from that. Whatever's left is the time you should be serving because that young boy had a whole life ahead of him. You know what I mean? And at some point, that's the question that I feel like we got to ask is what's the value of life? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do people just get away with doing that?
We're going to see it again, right? For Tatiana Jefferson.
Yeah.
She was 28. Yeah. She was just hanging out
same age as I don't even want to say his name wrong.
Jean.
Yeah, Botham Jean. Yeah.
So you see the similarities of what's going on, right? You kind of see it's like young black is always the victim, and would you say that's the media? No, there's numbers that show you that.
Yeah.
Right. So time after time, it's like how many times does this have to keep occurring before like a statement is made? Because honestly, if a statement's gonna be made, it's gonna have to be made on the side of justice, right?
Yeah.
By how these people are persecuted and how these people are tried, actually, right?
Yeah, but I think it's gotta be more than just a statement because here's the thing. All right, let's say this person is charged, everything, guilty, cool. As long as they're being trained to think a certain way, and as long as it's the same, bro, like, all right, obviously this doesn't apply to every police officer, right? There's plenty of people who've, maybe even in their family or they always wanted to be protectors of their area. A lot of people get into that profession for the badge and the gun, for the power.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For
Because
sure.
they never had it, or maybe they weren't that guy growing up, or whatever the case may be. That's not the motherfucker I want patrolling my city. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody who's emboldened and empowered by the fact that they have a badge and a gun. But that's what it is. And I was talking about this earlier. You know, it sounds crazy because we're so, and I don't want to say anti-police, but we're taught not to. We're taught to have a weird relationship with them, even if it's just do whatever they say. Like that's not the law. You know what I'm saying? The law is you have rights. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes what they tell you to do is violating your rights, and you shouldn't do it, right? But we're taught to do it anyway. Why? Because you could die. You know what I'm saying? All right, so for that very reason, I feel like we gotta consider us being police. We gotta consider us policing our neighborhoods.
So you
us.
think we should have more black police? And if
Hell
and
yes.
Okay, let me ask you this: how do you, because of the relationship with police and in the black community, it's not the most appealing profession, right? Nobody's thinking, okay, to solve the problem, I'm gonna go join the problem essentially, because the only way you can change it is
the
within,
fact that
right?
there are police officers.
Yeah.
The problem is how police officers interact with their constituents.
But
right?
I'm
With
saying,
the
if you're
municipality.
putting yourself in that group, right? Because police are, it's like a fraternity, essentially, right? It's a group of people
The
who
boys in
look
blue.
out. Yeah, it's the boys in blue. They look out for each other, right? They're a gang.
Yeah.
They're a unit.
They're a gang.
You know what I'm
Gang,
saying?
gang, for sure.
Cops look out for cops.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
I understand it because, I just understand that kind of mentality, right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense. So like you said, you'd have to change it within the system, right?
You
would have
change-
to change the whole process of becoming a cop. It shouldn't be as
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at.
It shouldn't even be as it's so easier to be a cop than it is to be, hell, I don't know. You think of anything that, like a firefighter, right? A firefighter's more harder to become.
Damn,
and then you're fighting fire. I understand. That's tough.
Cosmetologist is harder to
Cosmetology,
become
yeah.
than a fucking police officer. It's harder to be licensed to do people's hair, eyebrows, and nails and shit like that than it is to be a police officer.
Yeah.
Which gives you it doesn't really, but at this point it does, the license to kill. That's fucked up.
So there's so much they have to do within the system that's gonna have to be fixed.
That's
and
the whole
adjusted.
thing. That's the whole thing. In my opinion, it's like, all right, cool. Like, yeah, let's keep throwing them behind bars.
Right.
But at the end of the day, that ain't digging nobody up out of the ground. So how do we stop people from getting killed? You have to change the way police interact with people, like, period. You have to change the way police are taught. You have to change who the fuck becomes police officers. It's just like the teaching profession and the policing profession, both in a way are government professions, right? So if you're a public school teacher, if you're a police officer, you're being paid essentially through the government and directly or indirectly, right? And these are the people that are tasked with the development and the protection of our community. I think we should invest in them a little more and get the right people doing that shit. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I'm a segue because I'm gonna just get really pissed off if I keep talking about this shit. Speaking
About to
of,
get in our Black Panther bag.
yeah. Speaking,
I think we was in it though.
yeah. I mean, and the thing is, like, honestly, it's real, and we can go all day about it, but there has to be.
The revolution must be televised.
Yeah, it must be. But like I said, speaking of people that are doing the right thing, or at least attempting to, Dr. Abiy, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, just won the Nobel Peace Prize.
That's a big win for Africa.
Facts.
That's a big one for Africa.
Big facts. I've been seeing a lot of shit though, like online, which it was kind of expected in a way. People, not everybody is as proud, and the irony is, it's mostly other Africans who are basically who feel like he shouldn't have won it or have their own shit to say. But
I think everybody, always has something to say, right? Nobody's going to always agree with anything, especially if there's one thing I've noticed about the politics there is that nobody ever is going to completely agree on anything, right? No matter what's trying to be done or what is being done.
Even if it's good for them.
Even if it's positive, right? Because essentially he won the Nobel Peace Prize for essentially...
Amongst many things, the main thing being...
the ending the border dispute between Ethiopia and Eritrea.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, which is, basically a Cold War that's been going on
for 20 years.
20 plus years.
20
the
plus
majority,
years.
I mean...
But it stems from decades long.
Centuries,
generations.
Really. Yeah.
Generations of just animosity and...
Yeah. Things that were brought about, to be honest, by colonization.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so shit that's not like...
Yeah, but it stems back so far of what a lot of people can come back, you can say so many different reasons of what's probably led up to everything coming up to now, but it's always just it hasn't been improved, and this was the most improvement seen in a
quarter century.
Essentially, right?
He was all right, cool, let's squash the beef, and it happened, and I mean, bro, when that shit happened, I remember it was a year ago, right before New Year's, right? They celebrated New Year's, opening the borders and stuff. It was the craziest thing, like seeing the emotion, like people who'd been apart for decades getting to see each other, phone lines being connected, people just calling random numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like literally just calling random numbers that as long as it has the other country code, just to pick up to hear somebody else and be like, hey, how are you? Who are you? You know what I'm saying? It was
that's dope.
It's wild, and to think that the whole that was where everything was going, and then what was really going on, and what leads to some other stuff we'll talk about on this is that when you open up the borders, first things that go on a lot of times are business, because business, if you're in business, you usually have money, right?
Opens trade.
Exactly, it opens trade. And then on the other side, you had people in Eritrea who were trying to get the fuck. They were getting out of there. They were like, oh, this is our chance, and they were darting, across the border to the other side. And these things, especially like the business development, you could say is a big positive. But the problem is that, at least for one side, right? If you're local in Eritrea and you have a bunch of people coming from Ethiopia and building the businesses and all that, if you're looking at it from your own perspective in a very short term, it's actually it could be considered bad for you. And so this isn't like proven or like whatever, but my understanding is you had a lot of people in Eritrea who were not happy with that shit. You know what I'm saying? And as a result, there's a lot of unwinding of a lot of that progress that was made. But it's just funny because you hear the majority of the shit that I hear, and I'm just using shit because I'm not trying to think of good words right now. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the shit that I hear about why he shouldn't have won is more so based upon the problems that are still continuing to go on in Eritrea versus looking at what the accomplishment was, which was ending the border dispute, getting the land back over to Eritrea and Mabagame, and opening the borders. Because even though right now the borders have been closed down in regards to human people actually crossing into the country of Eritrea or out, and that was done by Eritrea. Ethiopia's borders are still open, essentially. So if you can find a way through that side, you're welcome to come in this side. You know what I mean? They still have their phone lines open. They still have the other things that are still open. So still a lot of progress that was made, in my opinion, at least, from a place where you couldn't even communicate with the other side. Mothers and children, because of where they were 25 years ago, were separated by a border that now, at least to some extent, doesn't exist. So I think that's really fucking cool. And
I think, like you said, sometimes it can get misinterpreted because there can be Eritreans could be upset because it didn't improve anything for themselves in their country, right? They still had all these issues still going on. They have their leader is a dictator and imprisons people, journalists, children, family,
anybody who has
anybody,
any
right?
dissent.
Anybody and everybody can get thrown in jail, right?
Yeah.
My man is cold. Like, what elections? That's that guy.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't care, right? So
What elections?
and so, which I can understand, because then you still, there's people out there who are still suffering, right? And I know some people believe that Dr. Abiy, being this peacemaker and so forth, should have spoke out about that in regards. And, to those type of, to people who think that, it's like, you got to realize, you speak out on another leader in a country, especially a country you already have tensions with. It's like, oh, you just declared war. Like, that's like, you talking shit. We could do this again, homie. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's what it would have turned into if he said something, right?
Yeah.
So it's more so, of course, let's make the peace. Let's open up the trade, because, of course, he's thinking about the interest of Ethiopia, which is understandable, and in turn, they will also prosper too because it'll open up their borders and is lifted off.
Open up their economy.
It helps everybody. Lift sanctions up, right? It opens the door for opportunity, though it might not change things within the country fully, right?
I mean, that's just not up to him.
Yeah, that's nothing that could be controlled by him. But also, when you look at, in Ethiopia itself, there's so much civil unrest, right?
Yeah.
A lot has been improved, but there's still a lot more to go, right?
They were just shut down, a couple months ago?
No, literally, when he took government, it was in state of emergency.
Oh, yeah, facts, yeah. But I'm saying, even more recently, they had these assassinations of, like, the head of the military or something, and another...
pretty much another military coup almost formed.
Yeah.
Killing his chief of staff, another general, and another heads. And the thing is the political prisoners he freed, that was the one, they say was responsible, that he gave a position to, right? That he put on the team and trusted.
Yeah.
And the coup formed. And, which is crazy, because when you look at Ethiopian history, this has happened before. We've had military coups form within, right?
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what type of preparations are in place for this, especially because, he comes from a military intelligence background, right? So the man,
Dr. Abiy is the man.
What you don't know is this man had all y'all shit tapped before he got into power. So
exactly. He knows everything. Which
is good and bad at the same time.
What is the
still being watched?
Like the equivalent to the NSA in Ethiopia? Not only was he like in tune with, he created it.
Yeah.
Like, he formed it. And we all know they tap all the phones. Like, that's not like new information. So you think he don't know what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
All the time. And then that's why, it's, to some extent, like, I understand. It's like they do like the phone blackouts and the internet blackouts. Some people say it's censorship, but it's also like, he knows that these people are communicating, and so it's national security. It's like, hey, we got to turn this whole shit off real quick before they try to come shut this thing down from the inside out. So it's crazy.
Nah, and like you said, man, it's so much going on, bro. Even they try to kill him
when he first got I don't want to say elected, but assigned, I guess, or appointed. They threw grenades at the stage, right? And multiple people were injured or killed. And obviously he made it out. And then there was the time when they rushed the palace and he had them doing push-ups. Remember that shit?
Oh yeah.
He was like, bro, that's a cold-blooded dude, bro. He out there, they came guns in hand by the dozens. Like, if you see the picture, it's easily over 100 soldiers come to the palace. And he walking up face to face. And next thing you know, they down doing push-ups with him. Bro, I don't know what type of dude. He's alpha, like super alpha male. You know what I'm saying? How he get a coup face to face and get them down to do push-ups, I'll never know.
He definitely has a good way with connecting with people. I'll say that, and in turn, that's what kind of worries people.
I'm just putting that out there.
that's what I feel like. That's what in turn still like some people don't trust, right? Because it's like Because, people, you're talking about generations of just like people dealing with bad authoritarianism, right? So people are still very standoffish to anybody that steps into power, right? Because it's like, what are your true motives? All right.
Yeah.
At some point, your true colors are going to show. Yeah. I don't know when it is, but I see signs and I know it's going to happen. That's how I feel like that's how all Ethiopians think, right?
Yeah.
Because the problem is, you got everybody broken up into ethnicities, right? And now that's your political party. Now, how does that benefit everybody as a whole country, right? Because now you have separatism, separatists, you have elitists, you have the minorities, you have all these different groups who are subjected to certain boxes, essentially, right?
Yeah, and then inherent biases because of the boxes.
Exactly. Because, something like I really like that Nigeria's government does is that it's part of their constitution that you cannot have ethnic-based political parties, right? Because essentially,
because you have like
Africa,
the Igbo
right?
tribe, you have the Yoruba tribe. Yeah.
You got so many different tribes. You know how Africa is essentially, if there's 54 countries in Africa, if you wanted to go by ethnicities, I don't even know what that number is. I'm sure it's in the hundreds or maybe even thousands, right? Yeah. That's how many different states would be.
Africa?
In Africa, you could have easily hundreds or thousands of states.
Thousands for sure.
Easily, right? That's how many ethnic groups. Just in Ethiopia alone, there's 100 plus, right? No, there's 82.
Yeah.
Or
what countries?
No, ethnic groups, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
It's like crazy. They discover a new one every other day, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so there's so many, right? And that you have all this division amongst them that they'll never agree, right? It's always going to be, hey, I'm this ethnic group, right? I'm such and such, and I'm this group, and I don't agree with them. I don't like them. Nobody likes each other. So what's going to happen, essentially, right?
And I think that was
it's boiling up. It's going to spill over.
That was I like to think that was strategic. It's like divide and conquer, bro. That was when the new Constitution or whatever came about after the Derg, right? Was the Derg separating in this way? I don't think so.
No, it was when Mullis took over. He's the one who broke it into 9, I guess, I forgot what you would consider to call it, districts. I don't know.
Is it 9 or 14?
I believe it's, y'all know how much it is? 9, right? I think it's about 9.
Yeah. But and then all of a sudden,
I'm gonna have my Professor AMX Google that, fact check that one real quick.
But either way, it just never made sense, especially because, like, mathematically, you put 2 together, and that's 70% to 80% of the entire country. So what's the point of breaking it up in that way anyway?
Right.
Yeah.
So there's no point in dividing it that way. Essentially, you've kind of divided everybody into their groups, and then the problem is now if to change that would be hard, right? So now you have to somewhat allow them to function independently. They pretty much do, right? They they sort of function.
Yeah, it's like it's a federalist, like a federalist country or whatever the fuck.
Right.
Meaning they all kind of other than the fact that Addis is within Oromia, so it's like DC, right? It's like this district or this space governs itself, but then you have like a Oromia, Amara, and then the other 7. The point is, they all govern themselves, but somehow are supposed to come together and have one unified. It's 9, right? Okay, so have one unified federal government. But the parties themselves are TPLF, I don't even know all the acronyms, but
I don't know.
you have your Oromia group, the Amara group, the Tigray group, the Southern People's group, it's like,
it's too many damn groups, man.
If you only looking at things from the perspective of your group, then there will literally be tension forever. But if you think about it, and this is gonna, start taking things back and kind of pulling back the curtain, that is how things have always been and always were, right? And then even with the entire continent, if you think about it, the lines are, 1800s? So I'll just use a round number and say less than 200 years old, the lines in Africa. You know what I'm saying? The lines that divide the countries. And then when you consider when all these current countries gained their independence from the colonizers who drew the lines. You're talking less than 100 years old, 50 years old in many cases. You know what I'm saying?
It's still fresh.
It's still fresh.
A lot of unresolved.
All of that shit is not, I don't want to say it's not real because it's real now. Like that block of land, that is Nigeria. It is Congo. It is this. It is that because it is what it is now. But in reality, that's not ever how it was, how those people
and that's how Ethiopia is.
Yeah, Ethiopia, I was just a little bit ahead of the party. I guess it was, I think it was Ate Tedros. It was like rounding it up. It was like, all right, this is all Ethiopia. It ended up being what saved them, in my opinion, in the end when it came to colonization, because these groups were already formed and unified militarily, so that they had their ability to move around and protect the lands of Ethiopia because of the highlands and the mountains and being strategic with their military. And obviously that also ended up creating what is now called Eritrea. Eritrea was a name given by the Italians, but like all of that separatism, all of this shit came about because someone else defined it. And that's the point I'm getting at, is it's never really been none of these countries were ever had to go through or were never conjoined in the way that they are now before all of this, before colonialism. And Ethiopia, the irony is that because all of these other countries were kind of forced into how they're molded, like Nigeria is Nigeria now because Great Britain and all the rest of the motherfuckers said it is. You know what I'm saying? Well, now it's defined. Now they built out their constitution from that. Whereas Ethiopia, which was already that before the colonization, it was already unified, because they didn't have that outside influence steadily there. Now it's almost like in inverse. Now they're having to pick their way through those battles later because nobody forced it. It was just like, you had a kingdom, and the kingdom was here, and that kingdom cared about who it cared about, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
It's hard to rule a vast amount of land in the old times, right? Just because of communication, things takes a while, so forth. It's hard to control what's going on. If something's happening 200 miles away, shit, all right, see you in a couple weeks.
Facts. Yeah.
We're coming. Hold tight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, on horses and shit.
You know what I'm saying? We'll try to cut them off or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's harder to control that much land back then. So that's why it was when you were able to do that, that's very you had a very powerful army. You had power.
And that's what Ethiopia had in a way.
Yeah. You're able to control everything. And it's essentially funny. That's kind of like what's happening now, right?
Yeah.
Control sometimes. We tend to, do what we know.
Yeah. I gotta control this area. I gotta black out that internet. Hey man, cut the phones off. Hey, fuck
no
it, man.
Facebook for you.
Let the niggas send horses and shit again if they wanna. You wanna coup? You have to do it the hard way, the long way.
All right, we cut. That's it. Cable's off, nigga. Turn off your lights, nigga. We turn off. It's like Habesha parents. Bro, I swear to God, the government is literally like Habesha parents. What you wanna? You talk back like that to me? Bye internet, nigga. They pull the Ethernet cord out the wall. Give me this shit, nigga.
Yeah, it's like, damn, mama, you losing internet too.
Shut up.
Like, all right, you got it. But yeah, man, But to bring it back to the positive note, what brought about all this conversation was the fact that Dr. Abiy is the 2019 Nobel Peace Prize winner, which is...
It's a great accomplishment.
For real, man. It's for all of Africa. You got the leader of the WHO, the World Health Organization, Ethiopian. Now, the youngest and arguably most prominent leader in Africa. You know what I'm saying?
He's the youngest.
He's definitely the youngest. Now he's a Nobel Prize winner. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are big lights that are being shined on, not just Ethiopia, but Africa as a whole. That
helps.
That shows, like, progress. And not just progress, as to say, 0 to whatever, but ability within its own right, within like Dr. Abiy is a force to be reckoned with as a person, and he is a African man. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna be interested to see what happens when the next election comes up. Is he gonna pull up?
What elections?
Just gonna be like this. You know what? I think I'm gonna stick around for a couple more years, y'all. Then we're gonna be like,
because I thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought he had said when he first got elected, or appointed, that he selected what selections, that he wasn't going to run. He was like, I'm gonna do this for this term, and I'm not sticking around. And then it became like, come on, homie, we gonna need you to stick around.
Of course, man.
As long as the man, there's so many damn acronyms. Is it EDR? Whatever.
I don't know,
the entity that is controlling the government right now. As long as they continue to hold 99% of all the votes and seats and all that shit,
God,
he's gonna be the prime minister. And it may not be the worst thing in the world for the country. It needs some stability.
It's good for the region. He helped. That's another.
Oh, for
big
the horn,
thing.
you mean?
Yeah, for the region.
Yeah.
You know, help. You know,
Huh?
Yeah, I'm saying
he helped stabilize the whole region.
Yeah, help with relations between the different countries, with both Sudans.
And you know what? You know what was great? What I love about it is his whole messaging, even afterwards, is like, yo, this is a win for us. This is a win for Africa. Like he said it, and then he was like, we're going to get there, and we're gonna do it through peace. Like he's staying true to his message, you know. Like even
he
when
said it before, we tried war. We seen it does it. We know it doesn't work.
Exactly. It really doesn't. And if Ethiopia can be a flagship for how the rest of the continent will work, once Ethiopia is good, and then Africa is good, the world can either be good or be gone, because Africa won't need nobody else. The continent of Africa has everything it needs.
Right.
Agriculture, natural resources, water, everything. If they build solar panels and put them all through the Sahara, you know, obviously I don't know the logistics of this shit.
That shit sound like a power of the world, baby.
Yeah, you feel what I'm saying? You have the Nile, you have you have all these different natural resources that we've already know how to turn them into energy. It's just a matter of manufacturing the things and having ways to keep it lasting and storing the energy. They have everything they need energy-wise. And if you have energy, you have everything.
Y'all need to go to Africa, man. Go back to the motherland. I don't care what country you go to, man. Just go, man. Put into it. I'm telling you, it's worth it. Not only can you develop the country and the continent, man, but you can also line your pockets at the same time.
Facts.
Because, hey, don't get it twisted. We are American. We are capitalists.
Yeah. And it's not like they don't want capitalism. They the world. Here's my thing about. I'm not gonna get too deep on my capitalism bag, but capitalism has its extents to where it can also be toxic, right? Yeah. But capitalism at its best is best in development.
Right.
That's where capitalism kicks in, is in development, because you have the real incentive for anybody to want to invest that much to help develop to that extent is to be rich as fuck. That's what America proved. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, cool. The only thing that's worth it is if you allow people to own it. And if they own it, then they'll dedicate their life to it, you know? And then they'll make sure that other people are doing things correctly. And then it's like this trickle effect, you know? Africa needs that as a continent. You know what I'm saying? Ethiopia needs that, you know? And Ethiopia's... If you see the deals that are being done, like Ethiopia's opening it up, like they're finally about to open up their telecoms, you know, to outside. I think they've already given out 2 licenses now. So 2 other huge telecom companies are going to be formed. Once they get to opening up the media and opening up everything else, I mean, the sky is the limit for Ethiopia, you know? And then for the region, if it can just expand and bubble out, and then that sort of... to some extent, you're going to battle with corruption. You're going to battle with people who are already in power because they own everything, you know? Like, what elections? That's serious business, nigga. If you run an entire country and you can look the media, the world media in the face and say, what elections? You own the whole country. You know what I'm saying? So there's gonna be some significant changes that would have to be made throughout the continent for it to really work. But dog, there's nothing that stands in Africa's way other than people.
Yeah,
The people in Africa.
it's power hungry.
Yeah, exactly.
It's power hungry individuals, and honestly, at times like that, you know, sometimes people have to rise. You know what I mean? And I hate to say it, man. That you sometimes when you have to rise, you have to overthrow some shit. If you want to get some stuff done, we've seen it done plenty of times in history, and we see what
Just
it is,
seen it
man.
with Sudan.
Yeah, sometimes once people stand up for something that they're tired of, you could see what's gonna happen, right? A change will come.
A change will come, and the irony, or if
You
it
have
is
to
irony,
take it. You have to make the change. You have to force the change.
yeah, and the powers that be, if let's not get it twisted, they're gonna find a way for themselves to still remain in power. But the thing is, they're gonna have to make massive adaptations to do that, or else everything will crumble underneath them. And that's really what it is. That's why. That's the thing about capitalism. It's what helps capitalism work. Is like it puts the impetus on money. So guess what? If we have a problem with a brand now, right? We're past development, so we're all the way at like full throttle first world problems, right? We have a problem with a brand. What do? We tweet about them. We get it out there. We spread. It goes viral. We try to shut the whole shit down. We create awareness. So
hashtags.
Exactly. So we get to that point, right? But we can only do that now because we've got all the way past through development and got to the point where everybody has a say because everybody's word has a direct reflection on dollars that are spent somewhere, right? There's like that. Where in Ethiopia right now, you can, like, if you try to shut some shit down, you try to shut it down based on money, like, that ain't gonna be it. The only people who have the real power out there is the government. You know what I'm saying? Like the real money is only getting spent in particular places anyway. Like the real money. You know what I'm saying? Like in the big cities, the obvious shit. You know what I'm saying? The nightlife, the this, that, the other, and then you have obviously like agriculture. But that's people aren't spending that. That's like that's business. So. There's just a lot to do, man. There's a lot to do. Everybody needs to go back home. I don't care where home is for you. Just go back, fly back. Especially the more melanin you got, the more your ass need to be going back. Because I've said this so many times. I say it to people all the time, face to face. There is nothing, absolutely nothing, like waking up in a country and going outside and looking around and everyone is like you.
Man.
Everyone.
It's definitely enjoyable,
bro. And I'm really glad that I got to be out there when you finally made your.
It was dope, man. Bro. It was definitely dope.
Yeah,
man. But one thing I do want to say, for all those people back home, I just want everybody to be able to have the same rights, the same opportunities that everybody, at least some of us in America we get when we're not getting shot by police. Right? Yeah. But on the right note, having the freedom for just the simple things like speech, just to be able to say like, who knows? I might have got my head chopped off. You might get your head chopped off if we was in one of these other countries. We don't know, but being here, we feel confident about being able to speak freely because we don't have to fear for like in the middle of the night a government official is about to kick in my door and take me away to some God knows where forsaken hole in the ground, right? Yeah. And I'm glad that we have that opportunity, but unfortunately, not all of our brothers and sisters have that, right? Facts. Back home, whether it's Ethiopia, Eritrea, anywhere else in Africa. Yeah. So, like one thing I really did like seeing was because I like to talk to all my friends. What's going on in y'all countries? What's going on here? And what's going on? Yeah. And so even with like Eritreans, I ask them, about the hashtag, the Yako, which means enough. Yeah. Right? The 18 years, right? The 18 years, since the imprisonment of the free for the journalists and all the political prisoners and so forth, and their whole movement, and it's great seeing young people like that, the diaspora here, being able to speak up from their places in the different parts of the world, right?
Yeah.
And even other people who like the Sudan, right?
Yeah.
The whole when the whole issue was going on recently.
Yeah,
the whole
shoot,
dispute
my
and
profile
everything.
picture was blue.
Yeah, see,
Everybody had the opportunity to
everybody's
show,
doing that, right?
Support in a way.
So they showed their support. It drew awareness, right? It started opening eyes. And really, what people don't realize is the awareness that you're trying to draw. Essentially, is a lot of people think that, oh man, you're just tweeting it. Which some people they just carry on, but in retrospect, it helps get the message across, right? It attracts the attention of media and other outlets, right? Other leaders, other governments, right, to see, okay, that this thing is a big issue. Like, we keep getting calls about it. We keep seeing it. It's
trackable data. They can see how many people posted this, how many people have changed their profile picture to this. It's something. It's usable data, and if that's a way that you contribute by being a part of that statistic, then
that's mobilizing. That's being active. That's trying to push forward a positive change, right? And that needs to come with the reinforcement of getting people behind it and pushing that right forward and drawing that awareness. So I just want people to know that, if you see something like that going on, and if there's really something that draws your attention and you see injustices around the world in any place, I think you should definitely find some type of, well, you don't have to. I'm not going to say I think you should, but I think everybody does find some type of connection to it, right? Regardless of where it's at. Because at some point, you can understand and you can empathize with people, right? Like people in Hong Kong, they don't want to be a part of this Chinese government, right? We know what the Chinese government is like. It's not one of the best governments to be probably ruled under. I know I wouldn't want to be living in no damn Chinese government, under no Chinese government. That's for damn sure. So I can understand the people in Hong Kong.
Yeah. Not only that, but Hong Kong was separate, and like China took them basically. And
it was part of the whole deal. It was like, okay, after kind of like the Panama Canal, right?
Yeah.
All right, for 99 years, whatever, and you pay us back, right? But by paying us back, we get back Hong Kong from the British.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, hey, all right, and it's like,
don't they have Taiwan too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's like, you're under China.
You're under China. So that's what the whole debate is about. That's what the whole issue is, right? So things like that, Now you want to, and then same in Spain, and then Catalan. I don't even know if I pronounced that right? There's so many different areas in the world, right? It just jumps from continent to continent. We all having these issues, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes there's not being a big light shine on all of them, right? I feel like, especially in Africa, there's never a big light being shined on it.
Yeah.
Like what's going on in Eritrea, there's not a big enough light being shown on it.
Yeah.
And it's, that's not fair, right? Why does somebody else like Spain or Hong Kong and all of them get the attention, right? Is it just because that these are big industries of money, right? Hong Kong is the centerpiece of business in that area, right? That's where money is. And as soon as you see the big effect, right? Why it drew attention? When you got millions of people talking about, I'm not going to work, I'm going right outside. Everybody's like, whoa, hold on. The economy is slowing down. You messing up people's pockets right now, right? Now you messing up other countries and other people who have interest in that area, right?
Yeah.
Same with Spain. You got all these people protesting, jumping out, stopping money being made. That's really what gets anybody's attention. As soon as you start affecting the dollars, then you're gonna be able to start getting some attention, right? It might be received with force.
Yeah.
Right? We've seen that with the Hong Kong and so forth.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it a little tough with Eritrea, though, because Eritrea is already pretty isolated, and it ain't hurting Asai's pocketbooks.
Yeah. No, and I'm not even talking about just.
But a lot of times in these totalitarian spaces, they have such a firm grasp on the entire fucking thing that there's not really it's
like North Korea.
Yeah, or even
ain't no way those motherfuckers is happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard to. There's a balance because you also have to have a government that's willing to hear, and they actually want stability. I won't say peace, but they at least want stability. Like they want to continue to function as a government, so they decide it's within their favor to do this. I mean, just like America, you know, like you could talk about the ending of slavery or the ending of segregation. Like, we're still not where the Constitution says we're supposed to be, but like you could see the steps and you could see the descent that led to the steps, right? You could see, I mean, with slavery, it's arguable because it was an economical thing, but that's a different conversation for a different day. But like, you know, people were marching or whatever the case may be, but at the end of the day, the president would say, all right, cool, we don't want to continue the country to go down in this way, so we got to make a change, even if they don't necessarily themselves believe it. Like, for everything to stabilize, we gonna do this. And I just think that the hardest part is that a lot of these totalitarian leaders will be like, yeah, I'd rather die. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I've been here for too long. I'm very comfortable. So, yep, bring on the coup. Bring on whatever the fuck you got, because I'm not leaving this bitch. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
You think Kim Jong-un is going to just get up and decide, like, all right, yeah, so you want next? No, sir, man. Yeah. They not doing that.
Hell no. I got this, and then my young son, John Jong-un, and all his Japoons, all of them finna be running this
those tres, cuatro, they all next.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I mean? It don't matter, man.
Yeah, bro. But. So I think that the reason I say that is because if I peel it back to the point I was getting at is because those countries are so isolated, because they have such a firm grasp on their media and stuff like that. Like it's harder to get those videos out. It's easy to get it out in Hong Kong because Wi-Fi.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they're not finna shut down the Wi-Fi. It's too big.
Yes, media is still out there too.
Exactly. Whereas in Ethiopia, no. In Eritrea, no. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And in many other places, you literally just can't get the media out because they have a way of shutting it down. And so it's up to people like us to go over there to experience it. Don't get your ass in trouble. Don't be posting shit that you don't need to post. But when you get up out of there, have a story to tell. Pass on the message. You know what I'm saying? And see what kind of good you can do, because I'm always gonna be on the positive side, and I feel like there's just good that we can do, not just on like the charitable shit, which is of course great things you can do, but shit, like you said, line your pocket, like you could build business over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you think I was there for so long, bro? Like,
it's not even being rich; it's you can build wealth.
Yeah, you can build wealth. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Industrial Revolution that was going on here in the 1900s is happening there right now.
Why not go get rich where your forefathers are from?
Exactly, and where it feels more natural. Where you don't even really need to even be rich to feel good, to feel comfortable with your life.
You have $30 in your pocket, and you doing fine.
Real shit. But anyway, I like that. I like ending that on a good note.
Yeah, man. I think we should end it, on a good note. I think that was a very positive discussion.
Yeah, man. It's some good, some bad still going on in the world, but
we just want to bring attention to it.
Yeah, facts. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we do here in the village. You know what I'm saying?
All types of shit be happening in the village. Look, it be sunny on one side, and then you got shit that's burning up in flames on fire. You can't see it. It's the goddamn Cowboy Stadium. And other parts going up in flames, right? It's chaos all around us, but at the end of the day, man, you got to stay positive, man, and goddamn, fuck the Cowboys, man. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
All right, man. The villages, man. We love you. Peace.
Damn Cowboys, I hate them niggas, man. I swear to God.
Bro, if we don't win this week, it's over with.
Bro, I swear to God.
I'm done.
Burning my shit.
I'm not burning shit, but I ain't gonna watch no more.
I ain't doing that shit no more.
But holla at y'all, man.
Oh, motherfucker, I don't know why I forgot to say. Yeah, man, cue my outro, nickel. Damn, I forgot to cue that shit on my bad, bro.
The Villages.